if I get a better body, then I can finally get a boyfriend, or I'll be more desirable.
I can totally relate to what you're saying. I was really hitting hard at the gym. You get the best body and you thought it's gonna help, but you are always in a trap. So for people like me who had that thought process, what's wrong with it?
Hot guys break up, right? Hot guys struggle, they fight, they break up, they hurt each other. Like, the getting a better body is not the solve.
I've never seen a coach for gay relationships before. People almost get into a spiral. They keep doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different outcome.
Don't look for the Prince Charming who's going to sweep you up your feet. Like, that's just not going to happen. That's not the misconception, is that love just happens, that I don't have to do anything.
How many dates should I be going on, realistically, before I have sex with them?
I rarely see a couple forming out of a first date outcome. One guy posted that I met the man of my dreams and we're going on a date. I just thought, how do you know this is the man of your dreams? Again, we're living in a fantasy world here. We don't know who this person is. If we're looking for a spark as an indicator of relationship potential, we're looking at the wrong thing.
What advice would you give to a person who is going on a speed dating event to make most out of it?
Being willing to talk to people you wouldn't normally talk to and just see what happens. Because up until now, the thing you want hasn't happened yet.
What would you say 3 red flags are when going on a date? That I shouldn't see that person again.
Doesn't ask you any questions, doesn't take any interest at all in your life or who you are. Like, that's a big one. We all need to find areas that we can be flexible on, because we can't be so narrow and put a box around what we find to be perfect, because that also just doesn't exist.
Hi, I'm Azamat.
And I'm Oliver, and we're the founders of Friend of Dorothy.
At today's episode, we're having Trevor Kuhn, love coach and matchmaker for men. Hi, Trevor.
Hey, Trevor.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Nice to meet you both.
Is this the right introduction? Tell us a little bit more.
Yes, I'm Trev, and my business is Love Daddy. So I go by Love Daddy Trev on Instagram. I was primarily a love coach. I also now do matchmaking. I'm based in New York City, but I do coach men worldwide, and I do matchmaking strictly in North America. Maybe it'll broaden later. But my business started 3 years ago, and I was recognizing, because before that, I was a wellness and fitness coach. So 3 years ago, I was realizing, I was attracting mostly gay men. Gay men were really focused on, of course, getting into better shape. But I was noticing majority of my clients, especially the single ones, were like, hey, if I get a better body, then I can finally get a boyfriend, or I'll be more desirable. And they were kind of going that route. And I realized this is what everyone wanted to talk about. So I shifted that. I shifted my business structure and focused strictly on coaching gay men when it came to relationships, dating, self-worth, and that's kind of just how it started. And I see, Azamat, you looking to ask another follow-up question there.
He's wanting you to matchmake for him. What are you on about? That's the whole reason we have you on.
No, I have a lot of questions because actually it's such a hot topic, like loneliness in general, for both straight community and for gay community. And I totally see the value of what you're doing. And I totally relate to what you're saying, because once we got divorced with Oliver, I was really hitting hard at the gym. And that was the thought, get in the best shape possible. And it will help me probably to also,
show Oliver what he's missing.
Exactly. We were married, if you didn't know before. We're divorced now. So
it ended badly.
Yeah. All right. So that's a good $10.
Anyway, he got a great body and it didn't help him. He was still undesirable.
Exactly. So exactly that. So, you get the best body and then you feel like, okay, you thought it's going to help, but you are always in a trap. So I was wondering, for people like me who had that thought process. What's wrong with it, and what's the better way of framing it?
I always like to say, at the end of the day, we are men. So if we're gay men or bi or queer, like we are different in many ways, but at our core, we are men. And so we're visual creatures. And it's really, we have to work a little harder, on the internal work, because if we're so focused on what we see and what we want others to see in us, and it's so surface, we're never really making deeper connections. And if we think, okay, I'm going to solve everything by getting a better body. Hot guys break up, right? Hot guys struggle, they fight, they break up, they hurt each other. Like, the getting a better body is not the solve. And what we have to really focus on our emotional resilience and our vulnerability, our communication. These are the aspects that are really important, because these things we have to carry through our entire lives. Whereas, looks fade, bodies change.
So what you're talking about, vulnerability and communication, it all very much sounds more of a job of the therapist. So how is coaching different to therapy?
Good question. So therapy tends to be a little more clinical, right? Both coaching and therapy look at patterns of behavior. So we're taking a look at what is recurring for you. Now, therapy is going to dig deep into your past to try to find the root of, why am I this way? In coaching, we're really focused on action steps and what can I be doing differently? Let's get very curious about, what my options are. And we create those together. Therapy's great. I think everyone should be doing that. I have a therapist. It can really help you, see where your blocks are. And then coaching takes it in another direction and says, now, what can we do about that?
I've never seen a coach for gay relationships before, but when I came across your page, I thought it just made so much sense. Because I think what tends to happen, at least in the gay community from what I've seen, is people almost get into a spiral. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and hoping for a different outcome. Is that something that you see a lot with people that when they're coming to you?
Yeah, they're coming to me and they're saying, what am I doing wrong? Of course, there's the complaints about the dating culture and guys being inconsistent and flaky. We can get into it with dating apps and ghosting and all of that. But guys really want to know, okay, what can I do about it? How can I show up in a way that's more confident and where I am the prize? Like, I would say be the prize. Don't look for like a Prince Charming who's going to like sweep you off your feet. Like, that's just not going to happen.
So not looking for a Prince Charming, that's a very good advice. So what are other kind of misconceptions that you observe among your clients?
We live in a fantasy world often when it comes to dating. We grew up with Disney love stories and we're like, yeah, that's the only example that I have. So we really have to go back to how can I connect with another human being, not just for sex, not even just for love, but like just how can I connect better with other humans and allow myself to be vulnerable and take risks, so that it's not just thinking, oh, I'm eventually going to it's just all going to work out. I think that's one of the misconceptions is that, and I hear this from gay men who were like in their 40s, in their 50s, and they say, oh yeah, I just thought it was going to happen by now. I got really busy with work and I didn't really put in the time. I thought it would just happen.
Yep.
So that's another misconception, is that love just happens, that I don't have to do anything to get there.
Yeah.
To get my person,
That makes sense.
So-
Most gays are able to date the people they want to date or so on at a later point in life. Do you think that's why?
That's why we're experiencing loneliness.
That's why
at a higher
more and
rate?
more gays are experiencing loneliness, because we started dating at a later age.
I think it really comes down to finding community, and which I think you guys are doing a really great job with. We have to have spaces where we feel safe to express ourselves fully. And if guys are going through their teens and their 20s and developing, into this adult, and we're suppressing our expression, then it makes it that much harder to connect on an authentic level with other human beings because we've been hiding for so long. So I guess in a sense that does lead to more feelings of loneliness.
Makes sense. Do you think dating apps keep
Yeah.
us lonely?
Absolutely. I always say that dating apps are a tool for finding new people that you might not find in person. I think apps are especially wonderful if you are visiting a new place and you want to meet some gay people. I think that's fantastic. I wouldn't say like never use an app. I would say be mindful of how you're using the app and how frequently, and if you're becoming dependent on it. Because if we're only using the app to like swipe, I think of it as an attention center. Like I'm going there to receive attention,
Mm-hmm.
to, maybe to give and receive attention and validation. We know through research that apps are designed to be addictive, and we get the little dopamine hit when we have a positive response on an app. No matter what the app is, it's like, ooh, you get a bunch of likes, you feel good. It's like, oof, yes, I have to go
Tiny
back
little
to this app.
dopamine hit, yeah.
Little dopamine hit. And you're like, oh, I know that I went on Grindr 2 days ago or 2 hours ago, and I felt really good because someone made me feel hot or something.
Right. I almost have started to look at people who have Grindr or are certainly on it a lot as a red flag. Because I've heard stories of people while on dates getting a Grindr notification and opening it. When I say I've heard stories, I think it's quite common. Like, would you say someone spending that amount of time on Grindr, would you say it's a red flag?
Yes and no, but I lean toward yes.
Yeah.
If you're going on dates, your Grindr should not be popping off during a date. Certainly not audibly. And we can get into the conversation about like, oh, don't sex shame people. They should be able to sleep with people while they're dating. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I look again at your relationship to Grindr, to the app. How is that becoming such a core component of your day to day?
Let's say you're on date number 2 and date number 3. I almost think, certainly if you're a busy person, I find that when I'm going on dates with people and I am getting into date number 2 or date number 3, I don't want to be on Grindr because I'm like, well, I don't have the time for it. I'd rather spend.
Who has the time?
Who has the time? I'd rather spend that time actually getting texting and getting more to know the person I'm trying to date.
Yes.
I mean, that for me, yeah. And it used to never bother me, but I think I used to be on it a lot more. And when my mind frame shifted, I definitely feel that there's been, my quality of dates have been a lot better since I've distanced myself from Grindr in general.
Can you share a little bit more about that? What caused that shift for you?
Well, first of all, I have 1 million kids. Well, not 1 million, but I have 3 kids. So I'm quite busy in general with work and so on. I realized through talking to people on this podcast, actually, I would generally use Grindr when bored. And I'm not into hookups. I'm not into hookup culture, which I think Grindr, ultimately, that's what most people are there for. So what happened was I realized I wanted to be going on dates. Grindr, it brings me no value being on here. I'm getting nothing from it. And once I realized that for myself, then it was just a natural thing of, well, if it's bringing you no value, why do it? And I think it definitely allowed me to show it better on dates, but more importantly, not actually on the date, but in between dates. I'm now probably making more of an effort with the people that I am going on dates with because I've removed this almost blockage, distraction. Because you can only give your attention to so many people. And I think if you're trying to give your attention to date number 1 and date number 2, having this other thing coming in alongside, just divert your attention.
You hit the nail on the head there. It's what are you doing in between the dates? And if you are falling into this distraction and this habit, it's actually a habit that you haven't broken yourself from. And then you expect other guys to give you their full undivided attention. Well, we can't expect from others what we're not willing to give ourselves. Right.
So I think 100%. I think what I love about what it is you do and why it appeals to me is certainly myself, and I think most people, when they think about dating, you think about it from your perspective. Yeah. So if I was to come to you and I'd be like, well, this is what's happening, and this is what men are like, and blah, blah, blah. It's all coming from your perspective and your judgment. One of the benefits of having a dating coach is you almost give me the tools I need to be able to spot problems and see both sides of the fence.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that many of my clients will ask me. They recognize that they might be, they're self-aware enough to know that there's things they don't know, that there's things they don't see that they're doing or thinking. And they'll ask me like, oh, I had such and such reaction to this guy not texting me back sooner. Like, what do you think? Do you think I was overacting? And that's again where we look at patterns. And I'll say, is this something that you do often, or was it just an isolated thing? What is it that had you anxious about them not responding? Like, we'll talk about that, and it can feel a lot like therapy, but we really want to understand ourselves better so that if there's things that are getting in our way, or things that we're doing to get in our own way, we've got to get around that, or it's just going to be, I think you were, Azamat said earlier, like doing the same thing over and over, and then expecting a different outcome. That's what it comes down to, is like, okay, what am I doing over and over, and how is it affecting me?
Okay. And here's the big one. I think this is the one we all want to know. You're trying to date and you're trying to get a relationship. How many dates should I be going on realistically before I have sex with them?
So I don't think there's a set number.
So the first date is fine?
I don't know.
No. Okay.
No. That's true. Listen, if it happens and you're both into each other, it's great. Fine. I rarely see a couple forming out of a first date hookup. I I can't say that it doesn't happen, and I'm sure it's happened a lot. I'm sure many couples will say, "Oh, yeah, we hooked up." Maybe they met, during a hookup. Maybe they met at a sex party or something else. That obviously happens. Everything happens,
Of course.
right? But I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, if you're going to be in a relationship with someone, like, you both know, you're going to be with someone for a long time, and not having sex on the first meeting was never important, right? Or having sex right away wasn't important, because you get to have a lot of sex down the road. You get to have a lot of sex after date, 3 or 4. I like to leave at least something in the tank, right? Like, so that there's something to look forward to, something to discover.
Yeah. Well, I think the great thing is
Like,
about
wait a few dates. What's the rush?
Exactly.
Because we do want to sleep with each other,
And-
but there's other things we have to get to know about each other.
And it makes it better. Like if you've waited a few dates and you know the person, I think generally the sex will be better. But more importantly, the after sex part will be better. If it's the first date, you're almost like, okay, you can leave my house now. Whereas if you've waited and you've got to know that person, you want them to hang around afterwards because, well, you know them. There's no awkward silence. You're past all of that.
If I'm thinking, oh, I need to sleep with this person right away, I guarantee there's something that's telling you, maybe it's a pattern, or maybe it's a fear, right? Maybe it's both. It says, well, I better sleep with you, because if this doesn't work out, then at least I got to sleep with you. It would be great if this lasted years, but the evidence I have in my life tells me that it won't, because it hasn't happened yet. So I'm just going to keep doing that same thing and sleep with someone right away because I find them attractive. And maybe one day it will, last longer.
Trevor, that leads me to the next question, which is exactly that. What if I'm coming on the first date and there is no spark?
You're coming?
What do we mean by coming? Are we still talking about sex, or we just mean you're turning it to the first date?
But when I'm coming on the first date, I hope there's a spark in that case.
Exactly. Shall we look for a spark?
Yes, that is, no, I mean, no. I think if a spark happens, that's great, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like, you could feel excited about someone, and that can come from many different factors. It doesn't mean that there's absolutely chemistry or compatibility. I saw actually on Threads a couple of days ago, one guy I saw posted that I met the man of my dreams and we're going on a date. And I just thought, how do you know this is the man of your dreams? Like, probably there's something aesthetic about him.
Yep.
Mhm.
Because if you just met him, you don't actually know him. Again, we're living in fantasy world here. We don't know who this person is. We're just excited. So if you're going on a date with someone you're excited about, you're building up this anticipation. If you have a great date and like there's good, banter and like each other, maybe that feels like a spark. Or maybe you've set up this anticipation and the date kind of feels stale. Or you're excited about him, but he's not really giving you much, and then you feel disappointed. So I really think that if we're looking for a spark as an indicator of relationship potential, we're looking at the wrong thing.
Trevor, you organize speed dating events, right?
Yes.
Which I think is great, again, to get offline, to meet people. And I guess in the
Mhm.
busy cities like New York, that's also a very efficient way to potentially find love.
Yes.
My question is, does it work in terms of do you have actually enough time to get to know the
Mhm.
person when there's a limited amount of time?
No, you don't. We're only giving each person about 4 minutes with each other. And it's not enough time to fully get to know someone, of course. It's not even really enough time to feel a spark. So let's just leave that off the table. You could be like, oh, he's really cute. Like, wow, he seemed really nice. And I don't know, I just got a good sense about him. And that's the whole point is you're getting to meet people in person. Whereas alternatively, you may have been at home swiping,
Hmm.
and I had guys tell me, I've gotten this feedback from the guys that are coming to the events that, oh, it's just so nice to get in front of people. So no, it's not necessarily enough time to fully get to know someone, but it's enough time to meet someone and decide if you would like to see them again. And does it work? Yeah. In fact, I don't have solid data from everyone that's participated, but I do have couples that have formed from it.
So, what advice would you give to a person who is going on a speed dating event to make most out of it?
I would say, put your guard down. As I said before, don't come in with any expectations. Just come in with the mentality or the mindset that I'm here to meet someone new. So remaining open, avoiding judgment before you meet somebody,
Yeah.
being willing to talk to people you wouldn't normally talk to and just see what happens. Because up until now, the thing you want hasn't happened yet.
Them preconceptions are not serving people. Like, that is ultimately probably why the person is single in the first place. If they're saying, oh, there's nobody I'm
Yeah.
attracted to before, and that's what's wrong with dating apps. You're making a decision
Mhm.
based on one
Mhm.
photo in front of you that that person is not your
Yeah.
type. When actually you could meet them
Yeah.
and have the absolute best time. I've never been to a speed dating event. I've always thought I wouldn't enjoy them. And it's only recently
Yeah.
I've thought about going to them. So my question is, if I go to a speed dating event and I've got 4 minutes, what are the three things I should be looking for that to be a
Mhm.
successful speed date?
I would say again, don't put too much pressure on it,
Mhm.
right? Because this is just how do I feel with this person. So I guess that would be the first thing. I would look at the body language, see if he's open, see if he's inviting me into his space. While at the same time, I better be inviting in mine. Don't put on a fake smile, but just be like, "Hi, nice to meet you, Thomas." You could literally say like, "How's your day been?" And then see what kind of response you get, because and any date, whether it's speed dating or not, you don't want them to be like, it's just like I'm so tired. Leave that part out. Leave out the tired. Leave out work sucked. Let's make it a positive experience.
Makes sense. And I guess two things. Look, I'm just thinking about from me. So I like to think I'm funny. And I tend to crack a lot of jokes when I first meet people, often through nerves.
Yeah.
Is that okay on speed dating? Or I've only got 4 minutes, I should be on my best behavior?
No, stop the best behavior. Just be yourself.
Okay.
If you're
And what
a
about
funny
for
guy
somebody?
or,
What about somebody like Azamat, who being himself just is not really a good option?
just take off your shirt and you'll be fine. I'm kidding.
Done.
You still got that bad attitude.
No, he's going to have a good attitude. I know it.
So I would imagine. So my problem would be going on a speed date and get with Azamat is he generally asks a billion questions when you first meet him. He interrogates you. And I'm wondering how many questions you would ask them in that 4 minutes.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So matchmaking. So at its core, because we don't have a matchmaking service here in the UK that I know of, especially not for gays.
You don't? Okay.
The only thing I know of matchmaking is that song, Matchmaker, Matchmaker, Find Me a Match. So what is a matchmaker?
Matchmaking is, in the modern sense, it's a premium service for busy professionals or anyone who is like at their wit's end, that really just wants someone else's hand to come in and guide them to potential matches. And so the matchmaker's role is to get to know as much as I can about the client and then go out and seek potential partners for them. And when I say go out, I mean it could be in my day-to-day, but when I'm going to events or if I'm out being social and I meet someone who seems really cool and I say, hey, are you single? I'm always looking for great guys for my clients. That's really what it comes down to, is like I'm actively working to find compatible matches for my clients.
And does using a matchmaker, is it about saving time? Is it about finding a better quality of person?
It's both. If they're really busy, then yes, it saves them time. It cuts out some of the, the effort and the pain and struggle of like constantly looking. And then, yeah, it's like I want high quality guys who are ready to make something work, to like explore a future together. Whereas like I don't know what I'm finding on the app or out at the party. Like I don't know what I'm running into. Some people are like averse to meeting guys out at like bars or clubs because just like with our Grindr discussion, you think, well, is this I know that you're going and you're out being social, but you might think the guys here, like do they just do this all the time? Is this their life?
Why are they why are they here, sort of thing, yeah?
Why are they here? And I know that it's funny to think that because you're like, well, you're here too, so maybe there's some other people that don't go out very often. But then some guys are like, they want someone who's non-sceney.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't necessarily want to meet someone, quote unquote, on the scene. So it's like we can kind of filter by asking those questions, like asking those questions ahead of time. And so we really get to know if there is compatibility or if there's red flags.
When someone comes to you to get you to find a match, is the criteria often heavy based on looks, or they have a wide criteria?
The client gives us, we have a whole set of parameters that we look at, from family dynamics to, whether they want kids, right? Or to lifestyle, to, top, bottom, verse, flexible. Do they want monogamy? Do they want an open relationship? Like we're really trying to uncover all of the things that might come up that you really can't ask on a first date, but we're getting to know them ahead of time because we want to we just want to know those things. And then of course it's like there has to be an attraction. So I ask clients to send me 8 to 10 photos of guys they find attractive. And I want to see what kind of range there is there. And so that's really helpful for us to know, because I know what I find attractive. I know what I find like, an 8 or a 10 versus a 6. Like but also we all see things differently.
Yeah.
And what I find attractive is not necessarily what my client will, and vice versa, right?
When they're sending you the photos, so if you asked me to send you 10 photos, they would probably be 10 completely different looking guys. In as much as I genuinely think I don't have a type, like it's a complete spectrum. Yeah. However, I don't think most people are like that. I think most people have, it's quite often a meme, isn't it, on thing where you see couples and they saying, I don't have a type, and then they're with somebody that looks exactly like them.
I think that's accurate. I think that there's sometimes, and this by the way happens before we take someone. That's part of the interview process too. Is I don't have a call with you, and then we decide right then and there if you're going to be a client. We have to believe that you're marketable, and I hate to use that term, but we have to be able to pitch you to potential dates, right? So um, I don't run into it too often where I'm like, I can't work with you, but it just depends on multiple factors. And if you're looking for a type that's so narrow that when I look at your 8 to 10 photos and I can't tell these guys apart, which happened once, I was like, wow, they all look the same.
Yeah.
I need there to be I need there to be some range. So usually there is some range, and we'll ask about age and height and body type and all of that. And like, where can you be flexible? That word flexible is one of my favorite words that I use in my business, both as a coach and as a matchmaker, is we all need to find areas that we can be flexible on, because we can't be so narrow and put a box around what we find to be perfect, because that also just doesn't exist, and it's just going to lead to uh, avoidance in our dating life. Avoiding making a choice because there's probably something maybe better out there or more closer that fits into my little box.
I'm really enjoying this conversation. I sort of feel like I'm learning a lot about dating rather than just thinking about it from my perspective. With that in mind, from a professional point of view, what would you say 3 red flags are when going on a date? That I shouldn't see that person again.
Doesn't ask you any questions, doesn't take any interest at all in your life or who you are. Like, that's a big one. And I hear that a lot, and it's unfortunate. And I'm like, tell a client, like, I can't do anything about that for him. He needs to learn to like be interested in another human being. So if they're not asking you questions on that first date, then that's a red flag. And that's like combined with if he just doesn't stop talking about himself, like let's call that like, a combination red flag. Talking about their ex, I really think that on a first or second date, like, we really shouldn't be talking about our past relationships. Like, that's part of like living in the past, and it borders on and can sometimes turn into trauma dumping, where we're like, oh yeah, like, just looking for a good guy who knows how to communicate, because man, my ex, oh my god, he would lie and he would do this, and we don't want to have that. We don't want to center our ex on a conversation with a new person. So that's 2 red flags. What would be a third one? I'm like, let's see. So that talking about ex, not asking questions. Yeah, and then I said this before with the speed dating, just having a bad attitude or complaining. Like, we can do that with friends. Like, we can commiserate over cocktails at the end of the day and be like, oh god, what a horrible week. Keep it positive. If this guy seems like a negative Nancy, or just like super dull and like has nothing, he's not excited about anything, like, we all need to, I don't want to say like we got to bring our best selves. Like, we have to bring our full selves to a date, but like not in a way that's going to bring us into a negative space. So, show up fully, show up authentically, but leave the negativity out.
So I guess my next question would be monogamy and open relationships. Like, where do they come into the dating sphere? It seems like everyone wants them nowadays.
Everyone wants open relationships. Is that what you're saying?
There's a lot of it, isn't there?
Yes. And this is an example of something where I will tell people, just because it's visible doesn't mean it's the norm. So, or the most common thing, right? Like, yes, it's normal to have an open relationship. It's normal to seek a monogamous relationship. They're both valid. But they both contain a certain amount, like, both require maturity. And so it's not that one is better than the other. It's not even that one is more common than the other, because I will say that, and I just want to put this out there because I do think that there's this misconception that gay men are either meant to be open or that that's the standard. And I don't believe that to be true. The majority of men that come to me who are seeking relationship do claim to desire monogamy. A lot of guys, I've even done a little test, like kind of survey among people coming to speed dating, because I had a conversation with one of the speed dating coordinators that I worked with, one of the venue coordinators I worked with, because he was in an open relationship with his partner and he was seeking that when he was dating, right? And he's like, "Oh, could we do like an open relationship speed dating?" And I was like, "I don't know how that would work, but we can talk more," right? And I did a little research. I asked potential attendees like if they would want to have that option, and most people said it's not something they had to predetermine. They didn't need to know that the person they were going on a date with wanted an open relationship, because they were really focused on starting, relationship with one person. I do think that relationships evolve. Attachment patterns can even evolve a bit. Whereas you start monogamous and then you explore together, or you open things up, or you're in an open relationship and you decide it's not for you anymore, right? So like, and that's part of playing the long game too. Is we're not going to know everything from the get go about where this relationship is going. It could evolve. Our desires can change. We have to communicate throughout.
Trevor, honestly, I've learned so much about what I'm going to be doing in dating going forward. So yeah, thank you. Like the tips have been amazing. It's been great to have you on. And I'm definitely going to go to a speed dating event. I think after I've been to one, I'd love to have you back on so we can discuss what went well with it and what didn't.
And we'll hope maybe to see you soon again on our show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks, Trevor. Have a great day.